Wow, stories.
I, 23-year-old female, am engaged to John, 24-year-old male. We have been together for 5 years. We want to get married in July 2025. I always thought that his family liked me because we get along well. He has 2 older brothers, 26-year-old male, 29-year-old male, both married. Honestly, I was very excited to have them all as my in-laws. They were always kind to me. Some kind of important information? About a year ago, when I was scrolling on Instagram, I saw a profile that was kind of cringy, but in a cute way. It was an older woman's profile who shared inspirational quotes. I remember one particular post, and it was something along the lines of, "Only stupid people pretend to know everything. Don't pretend, just ask." Honestly, this quote changed me in many ways. Before that, I was always worried that I might embarrass myself if I didn't know something. And after reading that quote, I realized that if I always pretend that I know everything, then I'll miss out on actually getting to learn about things. So I decided to change my habits and start admitting that sometimes I genuinely don't know. Someone is talking about the war in Kosovo. Okay, sure, but first let me ask some questions so I can really understand what we're talking about. And I ask a lot of questions sometimes. I sometimes even open the Notes app and write down some questions that I later want to find answers to. These are my latest. 1. How does the time work in a black hole? 2. Why do some snails have shells and others don't? 3. What food is okay for ducks? 4. How does the light bulb work? The old ones with gas inside them? 5. Do everyone see colors the same? And how can we know that? Now onto the problem. His parents hosted a small barbecue last weekend only for the family. So, it was the mom, 54-year-old female, dad, 59-year-old male, brothers, 26-year-old male, 29-year-old male, and their wives, 27-year-old female, 27-year-old female. I was the last person who showed up because I had to work late. I entered the house, and when I was walking towards the back of the house and into the backyard, I heard John's mom talking about me. To be honest, she wasn't talking about me, more like mocking me. I heard her say in a high-pitched voice, "How does the sun work? Where should I put the fork? Why does nobody like me? How do I wipe my butt?" I just stood there. I had this sinking feeling. I couldn't move, so I just stood there. And I heard them all laughing. One of the wives said, "I actually don't mind her always asking questions. I think it's cute." And it made me feel hopeful that they will say something like, "Yeah, sure, we're just playing. We love that." But none of them did. Instead, the mom replied, "It's not cute. She's just stupid." So after that, they laughed again. I heard John laughing. My heart kind of broke in that moment because he didn't even say one positive thing. He didn't defend me. He just laughed. I quietly turned around and left the house. I texted John that I got sick and have to stay home. Now I'm wondering, how should I approach this situation? We live together and I sleep in the guest bedroom for now. And I use the excuse that I don't want him to get sick from being around me. I can't ignore him forever, and I can't pretend to be sick anymore because it's been too long. I'm not sure how to proceed. Maybe it was just a misunderstanding. I'm considering talking to them about this, but I'm also worried that they won't be honest with me. I can't marry him if he really thinks I'm stupid, but I also can't marry into a family who thinks so little of me. But maybe it was a joke, and I shouldn't take it so seriously. I'm so torn apart, and every day I convince myself a bit more that it's okay, and sometimes we should all laugh about ourselves. Now I feel like I'm just going crazy. I would really appreciate some advice. To add, there are many comments saying that they cannot stand people like me. I agree that sometimes I can be a bit too much with the questions, but with that being said, I still think I'm within reason. I don't do it around people I just met. I rarely do it at parties or other gatherings. I usually do it with people who are close to me, who I think wouldn't judge me, or with people who specifically have knowledge about something and are willing to share it. If I'm a part of a conversation, I'm not rude and I'm not interrupting. I usually just ask 1 or 2 questions. If a discussion is about climate change, I'm not asking about monkeys, if you know what I'm saying. I'm also not a complete fool. I don't ask questions which generally would be considered dumb to other people. Those, I just write notes and check answers later on the internet. I'm capable of reading, so I make good use of it. But after all, I still do ask questions a lot. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. They were laughing at you behind your back. If he says anything along the lines of, "That is how they are. Get over it. It is not a big deal. You are too sensitive." Anything that excuses their behavior, then he is really asking you to accept it. He is asking you to give your permission for it to continue. And your silence is your permission for it to continue. If they can't say it to your face, that tells you a world of information about the kind of people they are. If you want to see how things really are, confront them about this and see what happens. Their reactions will tell you everything you need to know about all of them, and will be helpful in making such a big decision. It will show you how they deal with conflict, which will be a good indication of what you will be getting yourself into. Should you marry this guy? They will be a part of your life for as long as they are alive. You need to know if you can tolerate being a part of his family. Comment 2. Tell John what you heard. Tell him of all the things you heard. His reaction hurt you the most. Tell him you cannot believe how cruel his mother was. And his laughter and failure to stand up for you was like a knife in the heart. Then ask him, "Why should I marry you? Someone who is comfortable laughing at me when they think I can't hear them." You know, I ask questions to better understand something. The smartest person in the room is the person who knows they don't know everything and is not afraid to ask. When I heard everyone, all I could hear was ignorance, unkindness, a lack of grace, and no love whatsoever. How very graceful of you and your family to mock someone. Frankly, I'd call off the wedding. Now for the update. Hey everyone, a lot has happened since my last post. After that barbecue incident, I decided to confront John about what I heard. I couldn't keep pretending to be sick and avoiding him. One evening, I sat him down in the living room and told him everything I overheard. I was honest about how hurt I felt, especially hearing him laugh along with his family. John looked genuinely shocked and apologized immediately, saying he didn't realize how much it would hurt me. He said it was just a joke, but I told him that it didn't feel like one to me. We had a long talk about respect and how important it is for him to stand up for me, especially in front of his family. The next day, John suggested we go over to his parents' house to talk things out. I was hesitant, but I agreed because I needed to know if they really thought I was stupid or if it was just a misunderstanding. When we got there, I could feel the tension in the air. His mom seemed surprised to see me, and I could tell she knew something was up. John started the conversation by explaining what I had overheard and how it made me feel. His mom looked a bit taken aback, but then tried to brush it off as a harmless joke. I told her that it didn't feel harmless to me, and that it hurt to hear them mock me like that. To my surprise, one of John's brother's wives, the one who had said she thought my questions were cute, spoke up. She admitted that she didn't think it was right to make fun of me, and apologized for not saying anything at the time. This gave me a bit of hope, but John's mom still seemed defensive. She said that sometimes my questions could be a bit much, and that they were just teasing. I told her that I understood that, but there's a difference between teasing and making someone feel small. John's dad then chimed in and saying that they didn't mean to hurt me, and that they were just used to joking around like that. He apologized and said they would try to be more mindful in the future. I appreciated the apology, but I still felt uneasy. I told them that I needed some time to think about everything, and that I wasn't sure how to move forward from here. Over the next few days, things were tense between John and me. I could tell he was trying to make it up to me, but I was still hurt. I started questioning if I could really marry into a family that thought so little of me. I decided to take a few days off work to clear my head and figure out what I wanted to do. During this time, I thought a lot about my own family and how they would react in a similar situation. My parents have always been supportive and encouraging, even when I asked a million questions as a kid. I remembered a time when I was about 10 years old and asked my dad why the sky was blue. Instead of brushing me off, he took the time to explain it to me in a way I could understand. That memory made me realize how important it is to have people around who respect and support you, no matter what. One evening, I decided to call my mom and talk to her about everything that had happened. She listened patiently and then told me that I deserve to be with someone who respects me and stands up for me, no matter what. She reminded me that marriage is about partnership and that I needed to feel confident in my relationship with John before taking that next step. After that conversation, I felt a bit more clarity. I knew I needed to have another talk with John, But this time, I needed to be clear about what I needed from him. I told him that I needed to feel respected and supported, not just by him, but by his family as well. I told him that if he couldn't stand up for me, then I wasn't sure if we could move forward with our plans to get married. John seemed to understand the gravity of the situation. He promised that he would talk to his family again and make it clear that their behavior was not acceptable. He also promised to be more mindful of how he reacted in the future and to always stand up for me. I appreciated his willingness to make things right, but I knew it would take time for me to fully trust him again. In the meantime, I decided to focus on myself and my own well-being. I started journaling more and taking long walks to clear my head. I also reached out to a few close friends and talked to them about everything that had happened. Their support and encouragement helped me feel a bit more grounded. As for John's family, things are still a bit awkward. They apologized again, but I can tell there's still some tension. I'm not sure if things will ever be the same, but I'm hopeful that with time, we can all move past this. For now, I'm taking things one day at a time and trying to focus on the positive aspects of my relationship with John.